Hello, guys. Today is another Friday, and we welcome you for another Facebook live show where we talk about marriages that will nurture and nourish Christian relationships. And every marriage is not only Christian relationships and marriages, every marriage and every marriage out there. So we are here again. My name is Winnie Shum, and I'm here today with Emilia Tabi. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Hello.
Is that all you say?
Winnie, what is it now? I'm a familiar face now. Like, hello. It's nice to be here with you again. It's another Friday at Winnie's Corner, and we are here to discuss, to learn, and to grow in our relationships and marriages. So we pray that today we'll have a blessed time here. Yeah.
Yeah, so today we have a very, very important topic. I think it's very important. Distractions in marriage. Amy, distraction in marriage. What do you think about the topic of today?
Yeah, it's timely also because usually I will speak for maybe myself and married women within my age group or so. I
Yeah.
think this is the time there are a lot of distractions going on. The ones that we are not even aware of, but they are huge distractions. So it's a very important and also timely topic for the
Yeah.
world. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll be talking about distractions in marriage. I think also those in relationship can also take some of these points and apply it. Those who are not yet married, I think it works for the same, especially those who are in serious relationship who are ready to get married, so they can apply the same thing. So we are just going to get into the topic, and we hope that someone is going to be blessed through this topic. We hope that this topic is going to save a marriage. That is our desire. So distraction in marriage. So before we start talking, I just want to start by describing what distraction is. Distraction, it's anything that prevents you from giving full attention to something else. Distraction is anything that prevents you from giving full attention to something else. And in this case, we are looking at the things that prevents you from giving full attention and dedication and purpose to your marriage. In this case, we are focusing on marriage. So what are some of the things that is going to distract you from giving everything that you have to your partner, to your marriage, so that it's going to be fruitful and accomplish its purpose? So that's what we are looking at. Amy, what do you think? Can you say something about distraction?
Yeah, I think you define it quite correctly.
Yes.
It's something that still or takes the place of of another thing that is meant to be, I would say. So, for example, if you are supposed to have maybe a one-on-one time with your husband, and then you're on your phone and messages are coming like that. So, for example, so that phone and messages is taking the place of the one-on-one time with your husband. So that's how I see distraction.
Yeah.
Like, or another way of describing it is also it may be due to lack of priorities. You don't prioritize things rightly. Like you let things that are not of utmost important to take the place
They
of
take
the most
over.
important things
Yeah.
in marriage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think most times when you see a marriage that reaches a place where of divorce, or a place where they can, I say I can't do this anymore, there have been like a level of distractions that have been going on that have not been managed the right way. So just like in this world as Christians, just like Jesus said, in this world you will face tribulations. In your marriage too, there will be those distractions. So,
Yeah.
but we need to be able to identify what they are, so that we'll be able to work on them. The first
Yeah.
step to making change is to identifying what needs to be changed. So we're starting. So Amy, I would like us to start by explaining exactly what. So Francois Charlotte says you're looking beautiful, sisters. Thank you. Thank you, Francois. You're welcome to the show. If you can kindly share, I will really be grateful. Thank you a lot for sharing this video. Thank you for always sharing. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Lero.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. So, Amy, I was thinking that we will first of all like start by looking at what are these distractions, and then we look at how we can avoid these distractions. So we were discussing before the live show, and we were talking about how your job can be a distraction. So I just want to name it so that we are going to take one after the other, and then we substantiate or we expatiate. You are the teacher on it. So we look at how your job can be a distraction. First of all, a job can be a distraction.
Yeah.
Right. And it will work. And secondly, the almighty social media. It can be a distraction to your marriage, or your relationship. And we talk about another point I want to talk about, Amy. Another thing that can be a distraction is other people's experiences can be a distraction to your marriage. And then we're going to talk about money. And I'm going to tell Amy that when we talk about money, we are talking about the presence of money and the lack of money. Both ways, money, the presence of lack of it, we need to expand on that. And then we talk about children. Someone will say that how can children be a distraction? Wait, we are coming. We are going to analyze it very well in such a way that you understand how children can become a distraction. So, Amy, let's start with the first one. So, do you have any other distraction that I didn't mention that you would like to mention?
I think there are some little ones, but the ones you mentioned are the major ones. So
major ones.
Spend time and expatiate on them, like talk on them really deeply. So those ones are okay.
Yeah, so for those who are just coming in, please, if you can share the video, I will appreciate it. So we're listing out some of the distractions we want to talk about. We talk about your job or your work. We talk about social media. We talk about other people's experiences. We talk about children. And there's one last one, money. So those are the distractions that we'll be expatiating on. So Amy, let's start with the first one, job and work. So you go ahead. How do you think a work can be a distraction to a marriage? And then when we've explained how a work can be a distraction to a marriage, and then we are going to say how we can avoid it. So go ahead.
Yeah. I think for work, I want to establish that it's not a bad thing for the man and the woman, to be working. It doesn't mean that when the man and when the husband and the wife, if they are working, then the home will not be balanced. No, that's not what we're saying here. But the main thing is how much work are you guys doing? That's another thing. All right. So in a way, the most when it comes to jobs, then I would say it means you don't just want to maybe work because you want to provide for your family and take care of other things. If you want to work, like too much work to prove a point about something, maybe there's this particular thing you want to get and you need to put in maybe more hours. So you are sacrificing maybe your time with your spouse and your time with your children, your time with your family to make sure you get that work done in order to achieve that thing. Yeah, there are times when, there's those seasons where maybe due to where you work and stuff like that, maybe it require maybe time deadlines, require you to put in more hours. But I'm not what I'm talking about there. I'm talking about like a normal, that one is like your own normal work. For you to work normally, it means that you are working throughout the day, throughout the week, no day off, no time for your kids, no time for your family. That's the kind of distraction we are talking about. So at that point, your work is like your life. Your work is your wife or your husband. Your work is your everything. So your spouse, your children, your family comes second. That's the kind of distraction I'm talking about. And that's how work can be a distraction in marriage. So I want to repeat again that it's not a bad thing for the woman to have a job and the man to also have a job. But the thing is, you have to negotiate it to still make out time for the two of you to have like date nights, to have like family time together. If you want to be off, even if it's be off once a week, take off or twice a week, or maybe, depending on the kind of work you're doing, then that would be great. Because I'm saying this because for us here in the diaspora, even people who have office work from Monday to Friday, and they have Saturdays and Sundays off, they will still go and look for another side work on that weekend to do, So at that point, it's like spending time with your spouse is not your priority. You just want to work in such a way that if you don't work, it's like you don't have satisfaction.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of like the two of you have to sit down and know that, okay, we can work, but we cannot exceed this time. We can work, but we need to have off days where we'll have a time for ourselves. That's what I'm talking about. That's the distraction that I'm talking about. They are putting work before.
Yeah, I mean, I like what you mentioned, saying that you are not against, like, we are not yet saying that a woman should not work, because most times it's mostly the woman. Since in most cultures, especially in the African culture, the woman is meant to stay at home and take care of kids. And most times when these women have the opportunity to work, see, I'm saying so because I know of someone who was held by the husband not to work, and she was being told that her job is just to stay home and take care of the kids. So the husband finally allowed her to work, in quotes, and when she started working, and then she forgot about the fact that she had a family. It became work. She goes to work 7 a.m. and comes back sometimes 9 p.m. at night. And her children were mostly with neighbors. Her children were mostly with neighbors, her mother, father. Like she hardly even spent time with the children, and she even went to the extent of working during the week. And the thing is that it brought so much problem in her marriage that she couldn't like handle the marriage anymore, and she was like, I want to divorce, I can't do it anymore. So that's what we are talking about. So you get into a job, and that job becomes your priority. I mean, you mentioned before, you talked about priority. It's all about have a job, but your job, it's not your priority. But your job is important, but it's not your priority. Your priority is your husband and your kids. And same goes for the man. The man has a job, he's bringing money to the family, but the job is not his priority. His priority is his family, his wife and his kids. So that's what it's supposed to be like. So if you are in a job that you feel like, you don't have enough time to attend to the needs of your kids, or to just spend time with your husband and just love each other, then there is something wrong. That job is being a distraction, and you need to pay attention to it. And I mean, now we are talking about how to avoid it. How to avoid it, there are people who say, I cannot leave my job for nothing. There are some jobs that you need to leave for the sake of your family. Like if you get to a point where you're saying that even if I can never leave my job, even for your husband, your kids, even for your marriage, then you need to question yourself, because I feel like there is no job that there's no job that I cannot leave if my family is in jeopardy, because family is important. At the end of the day, when you finish from that job, at the end of the day, it's family. Everything, God has created in such a way that without family, we cannot function well. So if you're letting your family go for your job, you're making the wrong priority. Amy, before you chip in, I can see that you are eager to say something. Let me just take this message. Alvis says, friends also can be a distraction. Amy, let's add that to our list. Your family can be a distraction. Let's add that to our list.
Yeah, that's true.
Work-life balance is important. He was addressing what you.
Yeah, very important.
We have someone that is new. Welcome.
That's my friend.
Aniola. Oh,
Hi,
welcome.
sis. Welcome,
Oh,
sister.
thank you for
Yeah.
watching. Thank you for commenting. She says, beautiful, beautiful. Job, women of valor. Good job, women of valor. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank
We're glad
you.
to have
Thank
you.
you.
Just continue to
Yeah.
watch. If you have a question, please put in the comment section. And if you have something to contribute, put in the comment section and we'll read it out for people who are watching to see. And yeah, Amy, so we were talking about how you can prioritize your job. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like you were talking about like family. At the end of the day, family is everything. You know, we once mentioned here during one of our live show that who are you working for? Like
You
if
mentioned that before. Yeah, yeah.
you mentioned that like if you truly care and love, because most of us when we are working so hard, we try to say these are the ones I'm working for, these are the ones I'm doing all this sacrifice. So if you are truly working for your kids, if you are truly working for your family, and then you are pushing them away, at the end of the day, okay, you work, you have the money, and they are not there. So who are you working for? You see, so who are you looking for at the end of the day? And really, there was this issue of like, oh, I'm in a tight corner. I really have to be in work, just like they mentioned. I cannot leave this job. Why do you leave? Why will you? Because now I'm talking about a way to avoid. I'm a mother. You have maybe younger kids. That alone, when you're applying for jobs, you have to look at the timing. You have to look at the time you go to work, the kind of job, the nature of the job, everything.
Exactly.
This fits into the present situation, because you cannot have kids maybe in daycare and then you're taking jobs that you have to work from maybe 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. Who is going to, then you're taking kids to daycare at 6 a.m. Who is going to pick them up from daycare? All
Exactly.
those things, you know. So you have to first of all know the season you are in your marriage. Before even when applying for jobs, you have to take your family and your spouse into consideration.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know, you have to take it into consideration. Don't go and take it, apply for a job, and then you get it, and then you start saying, "Oh, my hands are tied. I don't know what to do." You know.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do and stuff like that. So you have to always put family at the top.
Exactly. You know, I'm just trying to put myself in the minds of some women or some men who might be in the position where it's only one person that can work, and and it's only one person that can work, and without the job the family cannot move on financially. They need the finances. So we want to put ourselves in that situation, and that's why it's important that whatever job you're doing as a wife or as a husband, you both of you should be in agreement, because there can be a time where one person can let go, or one person can reduce, or one person can look for something else, so they can meet up with the attention given to each other and the attention given to their children. You're not only talking about the money, because we are coming to money anyway, but but I'm saying that it can. So if I'm let me just give this one example before we go to the next thing. If I have a job, right, and the job is too demanding, right, and my husband has another job, and both of us, we have two demanding jobs, we need to come to a place where both of us have to sit down and see what exactly can I do to make sure that I give more time. You know, even if it means that I will talk to my boss and say, oh, maybe you can do something. This is the situation, you know, I need less time. Or you can come out. There's always a solution to every problem. You can have a conversation with your spouse and say, how do we make this better? You work from maybe 7 to 9. I work from 7 to 9. You cannot work. There needs to be one person needs to compromise. One person needs to compromise. Like, that's what marriage is all about. You think about your spouse first, you think about your kids before you think about your job. That's how it is. Your family comes first, Amy. So so I think
very true. And I always say, like, especially here in the diaspora, like, I'll speak for myself in Finland. When somebody's like, there is nothing I can do, especially when it comes to kids, I say it's a lie.
Yeah, there's something you can do.
You can do, because I remember the once I was doing it, I was when my first daughter was in daycare, and I just had to be frank during the interview.
Yeah.
I will work from 9 to 3.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, why? I said, because I have to pick up my child from daycare.
Yeah.
And even there are those days where they really need you, but they
Yeah.
know that, you need to go and pick up your child.
Yeah, they themselves will remind you.
Yes. So you cannot say that there is nothing you can do. It's because you don't want it.
Yeah.
Because when you made it clear from the start, from the beginning, that this is who I am. I have kids. I have to pick them at this time, so I cannot work after this time and stuff like that. They know, and they know where to put you, especially those who are doing this shift work.
Yeah.
They know what shift to give you and what shift not to give
exactly.
you and all those things. So for me, I just think it's just for you to pray about it, and then why that's not when you are in the job. Why even applying? You really have to have your scale of preference. Like, this is the kind of work and when you're applying, when you go for the interview, just pray about it and just state your point there from the beginning that I cannot work at this time. So that's it.
I mean, we have messages. Manuela says competition is another factor. Exactly, my sister. We are coming to that. He says, Elvis says, if there is no union financially, it's hard for someone to compromise. That's true. That's true. And that's why financial unity in finance is very important. Because it's going to help for the compromise and the sacrifice to be easier. Because if you have a spouse who doesn't care, who doesn't even care about you financially, you want to care for yourself. So if you leave the job, what are you going to do? So I can't leave the job. So therefore, there will be that. So thank you for that point. There are many women in this situation where they cannot leave their job because their husband doesn't give fully, has not given themselves fully, and doesn't give them financially for them to be taken care of, doesn't take care of them. So if they let go of the job, then they become like, so that is understandable, but the problem is not the job now. The problem is something different. So it needs to start with what is deeper. It's not, the job is just a reflection. So you need to go on why he's not taking care of his family that you cannot easily sacrifice. So that noted. Let's go to the second point. The time is not always kind to us. So we need to know that it's already 20. Yeah. So let's go to the second point. The second point is social media, baby. I keep calling you baby. My
husband is your friend.
I call everyone baby. May God deliver me. So I cannot imagine I'm calling you baby on live. All right, so let's go to the second point, which is social media. Social media. Our sister Manuela talk about competition.
Yeah.
Where do people even see to start competing?
Social media.
And the first thing I want to talk about, how social media can become a distraction is, let me just say something and then you can say. The first thing is the amount of time spent. I've seen a lot of pictures on Google where they'll put like the wife, the husband, and then they'll put the kids in the middle. The wife is on phone, the husband is on tablet, and the kids is just the child is not. That's actually the reality in many marriages. The distraction, like there's no more this communion. Let's just talk and gist. Let's just bond. Let's just try to connect. There's no the connect on social media. When the husband likes one page, the wife will like, and they'll say, hey, did you like that thing? You say, yes, I liked it. That's how they connect, that's a connection. So social media is just killing marriages. It's killing marriages. I watch a lot of videos on marriages, and you see, especially videos on counseling, how couples are being cancelled. And I remember this one video I watched on YouTube, and this man was complaining about the wife always being on social media. And the wife said, oh, I can't do without my phone. My phone is my baby. I can't do without it. And it's actually sad that there are many women and men, or husbands and wives. Let me say women and men. Let me say husband and wives. Husbands and wives that will actually say that to their husband, that, oh, this is my phone. I can't do without this phone. See this phone? There's nothing I give you up than to give up this phone. They're actually like that, Amy. So that's how much distraction. Yeah, go ahead.
Before I continue, hello.
Hello.
I can't say amen to that deliverance prayer. Please, baby, on.
Oh my goodness. I'm telling you, I need prayer. So this baby.
Yeah, I think competition, envy is what comes up with social media. It's not even just the fact that they are on their phones and don't have time for each other. It's what you take in.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, oh, God bless you for that.
You can just watch maybe another man buying the wife a car, and you are just frowning at your husband at home.
And you are frowning. You're like, look at this man here.
Seriously, you are just frowning at your husband at home. Like your husband will be like, "Ah, where is this coming from?"
Coming from social media.
Not knowing that you have just watched her, another man bought a car to the wife. Same thing with the husband. Maybe you see how social media the woman is doing this with the husband. Like my own wife is like this.
Yeah.
So the things you don't see, they don't kind of like hurt you or don't put you in kind of competition. If I don't know that, oh, this person has this or this person, I'll not even
not be bothered.
Yeah, but if you are feeding yourself with those things, then it becomes not just a huge distraction but a major problem, because now one of the issues that was raised in the comment section, competition start coming out.
From envy.
Envy. You start comparing your marriage to another Facebook marriage that you don't even know what's going on in their home. Just what you're seeing online now makes you to think that everything is rosy out there. Not knowing that every marriage has its own thing. So it's not just about you limiting the time spent. It's about you, even if it's 5 minutes a day that you spend, don't go there with this mindset of thinking that when you see another person's thing, you want to kind of your marriage.
When we this one even applies to even those who are not married, because this one is not even those who are not married suffer from it. Those who are married suffer from it. Even though now we are focusing on the married people, but when you
those who are single really when they see as someone who just got married, you just go and start crying.
Exactly, you go and start crying and start praying, God, why me? Exactly. So when we go to social media, when you need to go with a shift, we used to call it back in Cameroon shifter. You know what we call shifter back home. You need to be able to shift. You shift things. There are good things on social media, but majority of the things on social media are not. And when you go and you start scrolling through Facebook, and just like you said, you need to check. You need to put your mind in check. When your emotions and your mind wants to start reacting to things that you see, you need to put it in check. And say no, this is not why I'm here. Eloha says in social media the cause, or it is the person that has the competition jealousy spirit. Exactly, that's the next thing I wanted to say. I said that most times people say that, oh, don't look at social. Most people say make videos on Facebook and say, oh, don't look at social media. All those people you're seeing, they are not happy in their homes, even if they're happy. Even if they are happy,
compare them to yourself.
Even if they're happy, is it like is a problem with them or with you?
Exactly.
So that's the question you need to ask yourself. Like, even if they are sad, even if they are happy, because they're actually happy marriage just out there, and they are going to flaunt it on your face for you to see that we are happy. Can you see? I'm actually happy. It doesn't need to be fake. But just like Eloha said, is it about the jealousy mindset? Let me say spirit, because our spirit are of Christ. Is it the jealousy mindset, the envious mindset that you're accepting? Or it is the picture that is posted by the person, because
that's the thing. Because when your mind is already set that way, social media honors. Even if you see it with
even if you see your two eyes, you still
be jealous.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
exactly. So that's a very important point. And we also have to mention that there are some people who are weak. There are some people who are not strong enough. There are some people who easily get carried away. There are some people who are gullible. So we are not going to ship that away. So when those people come to social media, they see something, they are like, they are moved. They are just people like that. So you need to know who you are. If you are that kind of person, you need to guard yourself. And if you are someone who always sees people's things and you feel jealous, one antidote of jealousy is, if you want to stop yourself from being jealous, is to appreciate people for whatsoever thing is happening in their life that you think you don't have. If you see someone prospering, rejoice with them. It's going to help you, because naturally our mind, once we see something, the first thing our mind tells us is that, this is better than you. You are back with that. So in order for you to overcome those voice, or that voice that is telling you, you need to start rejoicing for that person. Tell the person, I'm happy for you. Even if you are not happy, start by saying it. Your mind will catch up with what you're saying. So that's why we need to train our minds to not to subdue, but to take away those feelings of envy and jealousy. You see that you get to a point where what happens in people's life doesn't move you, because your mind does not longer react to what people think. You've trained your mind. You need to train your mind to function the way you want. Yes. Hello says, sift all information, rejoice with those who rejoice. If you catch yourself jealous, work on yourself. Exactly, that's just what we are establishing here. What people see is what they believe. What people see is what they believe. Yeah. For those
most people are like that.
Yeah, for those people who are weak in mind, what they see, they just believe it, especially on social media. Yeah. So love, I think love is, it's hard for people to just naturally love. Until God teaches you how to love, you not naturally just love people, love the things they do, be happy for them. Not be dead. Oh, who is calling me at this time? Okay, so Emi, let's go to the next point, which is other people's experiences. Other people's experiences is very important for us to talk about this, because the fact that your mother failed in marriage doesn't mean that you fail. The fact that you have a friend that got divorced last week and tried everything and she's still divorced doesn't mean that you divorce. So let other people's experience not be the criteria that you think to evaluate and rate your marriage. We need to be careful in the way we analyze. If somebody comes to you and say, "Oh, look at them, I was like that last year and today that is them. That is their experience. Their experience should not determine your experience." And that's what many people, and this has to do with the people that surround you. The fact that someone is experiencing something in their marriage, should not make you feel like, Emily, let me just say this before you say something on this point. I know of one woman who came to me and said that she thinks her husband is cheating. And I asked her, why do you think her husband is cheating? She said that because her husband has one friend. That friend is always cheating on the wife. And they are like this. So she thinks that she doesn't have, she doesn't have, that something is telling her. I say, that's, the woman's intuition. I said, that's the woman's intuition. Insecurity. Because some people use insecurity as woman's intuition. So I told her that. So what makes you feel like because that your husband's friend is cheating, your husband would cheat? She said, because you can show me a friend, I'll tell you who you are. It's true, but it's not in every case. You need to have proof. You need to be able to show that, you catch him. So that's why I'm talking about other people's experiences, taking me to evaluate your own situation and even bringing more trouble where there's no trouble. Amy, go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. There are a lot of cases out there. A lot of women, even before entering into marriage, they had already kind of like they get into marriage with so much fear, knowing that this will not last, because in our family, that's how we are. We don't last in marriage, and so any little thing you just give up. I would say, and you're always in constant fear, that insecurity, like maybe tomorrow he'll cut it off, maybe next tomorrow he'll divorce me, maybe so then you're not fully in the marriage, you're not enjoying it, you're one leg in and you're one leg out.
Yeah,
that's the thing. And then another form of distraction too other people's experiences may be also. It may even come from friends.
Yeah, Evis mentioned that
You have
friends.
a friend who has been divorced before, or you have a friend whose marriage is really in a crazy state, and maybe that friend has been any little thing you say, I told you now, that's how my husband started. That's
Yeah,
how my
exactly.
it's coming to you. It's coming out to you.
Oh God.
It's
They
coming
don't
to
have
you. Be careful, be careful, be
mm.
careful very soon. Aha, this is how he will react. Aha. Same thing with the men too. The man will be telling you, this is how my wife, this is what happened. Oh. This is what happened. Don't let her go out. Don't even let her. Then that distraction is coming in. There's no trust. You become detectives to each other.
Exactly.
And
Detective.
because of what happened in another person's marriage.
In
And
marriage.
another distraction that can come, positive experiences too can be distraction. Because
Exactly.
you go through different challenges in your own marriage, where you have
Seasons. Different
yeah,
seasons.
maybe have differences, and then you have people around you that have amazing marriages. And with that, you're thinking, my own is going bad, and stuff like that. You are not seeing you and your husband as one team in a camp. You have your own way, you are different from the others, and you have your own experience. So if there's any differences, there's a way you can sort it out. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean you keep looking outside because
Yeah.
you think that's where good marriages are. You can't,
Yeah.
so that's
Exactly.
another form of
Yeah,
distraction.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You've mentioned very important points, and I just want to add to that, like the way to avoid such distractions, because there are many people, because their father, their mother, because they have a family of divorcees,
Yeah.
they have declared to themselves that, oh, me, I'm going to be a divorcee. Because there's no way my mother did not succeed. My grandmother was divorced. My grandfather was divorced, and then I will succeed in marriage. So that is you're already being distracted. You know,
Yeah.
we should learn how to look unto God for the success of our marriages.
Amen.
Don't think that because because your mother divorced, your mother has been married 4 times and divorced all the 4 husbands, it means that, oh, you have to do the same thing. The same thing will happen to you. No, you
Yeah.
are not your mother, and you are not your
Mm.
mother's experiences,
Mm.
because it is the same thing. I'm going to use myself as an example, because my mom did not have a good marriage.
Yeah.
Because I grew up not seeing marriage the way it's supposed to be. But I remember since I was 10 years old, my mother, I used to tell myself that for me to marry someone like my father, I better remain single. At 10 years, yeah, that's what I used to tell myself. And I used to pray and say that the only reason why I will get married is if I meet someone that really knows what a husband should be like.
Yeah.
And glory to God, God knows how to answer our prayers in me.
Amen.
I'm sure all of us, we had prayers that, we prayed concerning it, but I refuse to see what happens to my family, to my mother, to my mother's sister, to my mother's brother, to all her family members. It's not my business. We need to learn how to focus on Christ. He is the one that sets our path on purpose. He is the one that plans our life. And what he has planned for you as you are in him is going to be achieved. So don't be distracted by who had a successful marriage, who didn't. Just like you mentioned, Amy, successful marriage can also be distraction, because that person can be successful because they have already gone through the phases that you were supposed to go through, and you are in your own phase of growth. And because they are succeeding now, because they've already been through, you say, oh, why are they succeeding? Why am I not? Instead for you to focus on what is happening and try to grow with how the Father is trying to purge you of all the soulish, worldly mindset, you're focusing on the fact that someone else is succeeding.
Yeah, what you're saying, Winnie, it's this particular point. It's so it's really deep, and just like you take the will of God, you take the power of God to deliver. Like it needs deliverance, because I used to have a daughter in one of my daughters in Christ. She used to think that she'll never get married.
You see,
She used to think that way, because of the family and stuff like that. You understand? So it's something that you need to pray about. And then as you grow in Christ, as you understand who you are a child of God. The Bible tells us that Once you're born again, you are new. All the family, whatever, that one is in the
disconnected. You're disconnected.
Yeah, you are disconnected, you know. Yeah, and now she's married, and I thank God for that. So this thing is really, it's something that it's huge.
Yeah,
it's really huge, and we shouldn't let it get into our own marriages.
Yeah, exactly.
It was your grandfather, it was your grandmother, they live their own life, they are gone. You now, you have your own life.
Yeah.
Your life is a chapter on its own in the hands of God. So we should really, really try to pray that God will help us to overcome all these different notions, you know. I can see a comment there that as a man thinks in his heart, so he is. Yeah,
exactly.
We should do away with all those things from our minds.
Yeah. There is a thesis here in me. Read it for us.
Mr. Shaw, here comes Mr. Shaw again.
Come again, yes, read it, my dear.
You need to know when your constant use of social media is taking over you, or is becoming a distraction and an addiction. Yeah, that's true. Nothing should have power over us. Learn to discipline yourself, put yourself under limits. You can choose to fast from social media, reduce your consumption. Yeah, it's true. Reduce your consumption. Use it one time a day or at a particular time of the day. Discipline yourself if you want to be free. Put yourself under checks. Most people are addicted, but they don't even know it. You need to constantly examine your. Where's the other one? Okay, it's coming later.
It's coming.
Yeah,
you know, the person like writing this
is very important. Really, you know, this social media fasting. You know,
very important.
It's very important, because like even for me personally, there are times when I feel like, oh, this is too much.
Yeah, I need to,
like you said, that you can even, you know, for us, like, you have to put this in your page, put this in this one, go to YouTube.
Yeah, do this here. So
at times, if you may not know. At times, my husband will be like, "Can you put it down?" And I'm like, I just want to update. Yeah, I just want to post. I need to update my page and stuff like that. So it is very important for us to
be a distraction. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for us to be conscious, to know when to say, all right, let me just pause. Those people that you want to update page for, they will still be there tomorrow. You can do it. Yeah,
and you know, I just wanted to say something else before we go to the next point, is that, you know, this aspect of this jealous mind and all of that, you can still be in the process to work on how you can train your mind not to be jealous and envious of people, but at the same time, you need to learn how to know where to go. For example, you can be in training. You can be in training. When you are in training in the military, they will not send you to some certain places that you are not yet trained to go there. You know, so fasting from social media can be a way for you to just avoid some things that can cause you to. There's this avoidance. I just avoid it, you know. So avoidance. So because I don't want to, you know, be mixing all those emotions. There are people. I know many people who are off Facebook because they are guarding themselves. It's okay for you to go off Facebook because you feel like it distracts you. It's okay because you're putting yourself under check, and that's what Elvis is talking about, like putting yourself under check. And he's very good in that. Like, I appreciate it.
It's usually good. It's something that we should.
Yeah, you put yourself under check. I mean, the next thing I wanted to talk about is money. Money, capital letters. You know, money. And we're talking before the live, we're talking about the presence of money and the absence of it. So just money in general, because people don't know. So you might be in a place where you feel like, oh, I'm poor, I don't have enough money. When I have money, things will be better. When I have money, my marriage will be better. My dear, says who? I'm telling you, like, people feel like the presence of money is going to solve some issues. Now, it's true that you can be in a marriage where the presence of money can limit some things. You know, can limit the occurrence of maybe some disagreements, some quarrels. But the presence of that money can in turn bring more quarrels and disagreement. That's what we are saying. Like, because of money, many people have let go of their marriages. Because of money, many people have divorced. Because of money, many people have refused to have kids, even if their spouse want to. I'm not saying that as a married couple, there must be children. There are people who've been married for years and they have decided not to have kids. Because like Elvis will say, having children is sacrifice.
It is.
It's sacrifice. So there are some people who know that they can't do it. So there are some people some people say, I can't deal with kids. And sometimes people will shame us. Say, look at this woman. She doesn't have any dignity. She doesn't want to have kids. People will shame you. But, you just don't want, there are people who don't just want to have children. So money can be something that when it comes, it's a problem. And when it's not there, of course, it's a problem. So we need to be mindful. It can be a distraction in both ways. Amy, say something.
Money, like we always say, is not evil, but the love for it is the root of all.
Exactly.
So my husband will say, when you cry, I want to have money, I want to have this. When you have, immediately you have it, you want another level.
Yeah, another thing. Yeah. They have to say it's never satisfying.
Money cannot. It's not. You cannot say that a marriage will work because of money. No, that's not the foundation of marriage itself. But we all need money for
different things, for everything.
Even when Jesus was here on earth, he used money to do other things. Other things. So it's a necessity. But if we start loving it, which the Bible tells us that is the root of all evil, if you start serving money as though it's your God, that's where the problem is. For example, if your husband buys you gifts, it's the best husband in the world. If your husband don't have,
he's the worst.
Useless man. That's you are talking about. Yeah. So your love for your husband or your love for your wife is being rated with money. Same thing, there are some husbands who just go mute, who are not just happy when they don't have money to spoil their wives. There are some husbands like that, who think that the only way for me to show my wife that I love her is when
it's for me to give her money.
No, but that's a very wrong mindset. So the little that you have, you manage it. When you want to spoil your wife, it's okay. You can spoil. It's okay, but it shouldn't be like money is the main thing in that marriage. It is money that determines when you smile. It is money that determines when you say all nice things about each other. It is money that even determines when you. I don't want to talk about that point. So money determines everything in your marriage. So now you are saving money. So when there's no money, there's no happiness in marriage. Yes, there can be those tough times, but with your love for each other, the unity and everything, you'll be able to manage the little that you have, and you still have a happy marriage and a happy home. And most of the times, as I mentioned, when the money starts coming now, so for some people, for most of us, it is difficult to manage, for us to manage success than to manage hardship. When success comes, we are all over the place. We don't even know how to walk away. We don't even know how to, price start coming in, all those things. And when you attain that particular position, you just want to get more and more and more. So at that point, you can even do away with your husband or your wife just to make sure that you maintain that, that position. So the love of money, it's a very big distraction.
The love of money is the root of all evil. So the presence of it. Money is so powerful that you can love money even if you don't have it. But that's one thing people don't know. People think like it's only those who have money that have a love of money. Even those who have money, they have a love of money. And that's why you see someone is poor and they can kill somebody to get money because they have the love of money rooted in their hearts. And one thing that I want to mention in me is that people don't prepare for the next level in their marriages. For example, you can be living like with your husband or your wife, and you guys are living in your one room house. You understand? And you guys are doing okay. and you're excited that you're going maybe to a 3-bedroom house, to a bigger house. But you need to know that going to that bigger house, there will be more things that will happen. There'll be more issues that will happen. So exactly, maybe you will start saying, oh, I don't want this room. You want to take this room? No, I don't. All those kind of things. I see that you start having issues that you didn't have in the one room. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying, that you can be without money, and it's okay. And when money comes, and you see that things change, and you can be with money, and when money goes, everything changes. So the presence of money and the absence of money can be a distraction. But like Paul says in I don't know where it's First Corinthians or where he said that in everything let your joy be constant.
Yes.
Whether in poverty or in riches, let your joy be constant. Because like we said, you made a statement where your husband said that anytime you want something, you want another thing. Anytime and people, most people will say that, oh, things don't give happiness. Because God has put a void in man that only Christ can fill. That's why people want to go ahead and achieve this. They want to have the biggest house in the world because they are trying to fill the void that only Christ can fill. Nothing will ever fill you if Christ has not filled you. And that's why you always want something else. You always want something else. And you are never satisfied. But as Christians, we are supposed to know that whether in plenty or in lack, our joy should and must be constant. We need to be stable because our satisfaction and our happiness is from who we are in Christ. And we are not saying that external things cannot make us happy. Of course, they can make you happy, but it's for a moment.
Short-lived.
Yeah, and if your happiness is dependent on those things, then you see that after you've been happy maybe for 1 week when you bought a new car, then the next thing you say, oh, I don't want this brand. Maybe I should go for a Tesla. You get a Tesla, you're like, oh, maybe I should go for a Lamborghini. That's how empty the things of the world are. So we find our true happiness and joy in Christ, and that is where true happiness and joy is. Elvis says, Ella says areas that trigger those wrong emotions should be checked. Exactly, my sister. And Manuelia says the word of God is power over every setback in marriage. Without the word, no marriage can actually be free from distractions. Exactly, my sister. Well said. And every money and the lack of it has a way of changing us and making us what we are not. Learning to be safe in all circumstances is the key. Exactly. That sums it up for money, Amy. Let's do the next one, the last one for today, which is children. Amy, I want to give a disclaimer. I'm not saying here that people should not give birth because let me give a disclaimer. I'm not saying that people should not give birth because it's a distraction. But children can be a distraction if allowed. There are many people who've had kids and they completely forget about their husbands. They will choose their children 10 times over than over their husband. I'm not saying that you should choose any, but I'm saying that in situations where you know that your husband is your priority, because children will leave us. You are a caretaker. You are a caretaker. If it's your children that determine your happiness in marriage, check, because they will leave you, and you'll be that mother-in-law that will be following your son to the house to go and control, because you don't have anything to leave, because they are your all. Most people say that, oh, my children are my all in all. No, Christ is my all in all. You should be able to be stable, that even when your children leave home and go to start their own lives, you'll not be the kind of mother that will be following them. Anywhere they go, you follow. Because you've not established who you really are. Your children, oh, I can't do without my children. My children are my all in all. I understand the statement, but sometimes people show it that way. You understand? Amy, what do you have to say about these children?
Yeah, that's misplaced priority, I would say. The children, they are gifts from God. Your spouse is also a gift from God. Each of them, each of these gifts, they have their place in your life. You shouldn't want your kids to take the place of your husband, and likewise, even some husbands too. Let your kids take the place of your wife. So I love the fact that you mentioned that they can be,
but they are not, but they can be,
allow them. That's the thing. If you allow them, because especially most women are so attached to their kids that when especially that those early stages. They don't even want, it's everything is about the kids. It's about the kids. It's about the kids. It's about the kids. There is nothing. I cannot. No, I cannot do this. It's about I have to do this for the child. It is our kid. It's not your child.
Exactly. Thank you for that.
It's for both of you. So I think if you establish that this is our child, then the two of you will be able to plan things in a way that you still have time for yourselves. If it's like, okay, let's do this so that we'll put them to sleep early and then we have our movie
time to bond.
We have our time to bond or something. If it's like, okay, we agree that, okay, let's drop them. Some of us that don't have families abroad, we are alone.
Yeah, let's drop them with a friend. Yeah.
When you have a very good friend that the two of you trust, and it's okay, let's drop them with this friend and go have our time together. So at that time you're doing things as a team. And the children, you are being caretakers. You know that these ones they will not come and spoil things for us. So
exactly. And I just want to mention,
yeah.
I just want to mention before we close. I told you that we're going to finish on time today. You can see I'm on time. I just want to mention before we close that I was reading an article and they said the reason why people divorce most times after their children have left home is because they spend time focusing on their kids than on themselves. So when the children leave, they have nothing to build on. There's no, they have taken like 30 years of their lives or 20 years of their life, focusing on their children so much that they didn't focus on them. So when the children leave, then their husband is like a stranger. Who is this woman? Who is this man? Because now the scales have fallen off their eyes, and they are now realizing that, oh, I actually had a husband. I actually had a wife. Yeah. So just like we made it clear in the beginning, Amy, children are not a distraction, but they can be a distraction if allowed. So we need to be careful. These things that people adore their children, it's like idol worship. It's like idol worshiping. We don't need to do that. Every child knows that love doesn't have any color. Like when love is there, love is there. You don't need to idolize a child, and the child will take away every other good thing in your life before you prove that you love a child. So we need to learn how to give our all in our marriages, Amy, love accordingly, and make sure that we are aware of all these distractions that we've mentioned. Amy, before you conclude, let me just go through the distractions. Number one, we talked about your job, your work, it can be a distraction. We talked about social media, it can be a distraction. We talked about other people's experience, how it can be a distraction. We talk about money, and now we are concluding with how children can be a distraction. So, Amy, you talk on children, and then you give your concluding statement. So,
I think for children, you said it all, because it shows about all children are gifts from God. Doesn't matter. There are some testimonies that kids, how they came and stuff like that, but it doesn't cancel the fact that all kids are gifts from God. So you must not idolize your kids, because I'm sure if Abraham had idolized Isaac, there's no way he would have, obeyed God when God asked him to sacrifice Isaac. So don't let your kids even take the place of God, because some
exactly.
So they are gifts from God. We are caretakers. So just do the little that you can, and God will do the rest for you. And
amen.
With your husband, because if you focus on the child and then you fall apart with your husband, God forbid, but you divorce, that child, it will not be well with him.
Yeah, exactly. The absence,
So try as much as possible to uphold or to keep the fire burning.
Exactly.
In conclusion, I would say all these distractions, whether we like it or not, they are there. As long as, especially for us, how they call it, 21st century wives. But all these distractions that we've talked about, either 1, 2, or 3, or all, that's why they are distractions. They're always fighting to come in, trying to come in, So the most important thing is for us to join as a team, because with each couple, they are a team. Come together as a team, agree on how to overcome some of these distractions, pray about it, and God help you to overcome them in Jesus' name.
Amen. Amen. So we've come to the end of this session, but we have two messages that have come in. Elvis says there is a need to constantly evaluate, examine yourselves to discern whether we are distracted and discipline ourselves through limits. Principles that will refocus us on the right path. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. That's the conclusion. Principles that will refocus us on the right path. And Clary says, interesting. Oh, Clary, it's nice to see you join. That's my cousin's wife. Nice to meet you, Clarice, my brother's wife. It's a pleasure to have all of you. Thank you, Eloho. Thank you, Maniola. Thank you, Elvis. Thank you, Clarice. Thank you for all of you watching who have not commented. I hope this video was encouraging, and I hope that we strive for marriages that will bring God, that will bring glory to God. Marriages that people will look at and will review, and you want to preach the gospel because somebody looked at your marriage and say, oh, wow, and you'll be like, tell me more. And then you tell them, you start preaching Christ. So I hope this video was a blessing. So we have live every Friday. I come here with Amy and like 90% of the time. And I have other guests that come to that are interested. Yes, someone calling mom. So I have to go now because things are about to happen. So thank you for watching. So see you next Friday when we have another live. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
Bye.